Starfleet, an organization built upon principles of honor, truth, and dignity. Its primary mission is peace and exploration. But what happens when what you explore becomes more dangerous than you realize? In the 2370s, with numerous threats concerning the United Federation of Planets, Starfleet ships pivoted slightly from an exploration focus to a more tactical defense focus. Long gone were the days of peaceful meetings with aliens, and instead, Starfleet took a more direct approach.
Fire.
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 Fire. Fire!
Fire.
Introducing the Steamrunner class, an absolute tank of a ship with a superlative inbuilt talent for making things go boom. It could hold its own against any number of threats to the Federation, be they the Dominion or the Borg, a ship skirting the conventional design ideas of saucers, secondary hull, and two nacelles into something more unique, but keeping that Starfleet aesthetic. It's been a long time coming, but it's so much fun to at long last explore one of our favorite Starfleet ships, the Steamrunner. To be completely clear, not the Defiant. Not this time. Sorry. But not sorry.
Red alert, this video is brought to you by Star Trek Fleet Command. It's time to beam on board your starships and join me in Star Trek Fleet Command. You will team up with iconic Star Trek characters and command legendary starships alongside your favourite officers. In this free-to-play open-world MMO game, you can gather your crew, customize your fleet, and explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and civilizations, and begin to dominate the galaxy. In Star Trek Fleet Command, you command a starbase on the front lines of the Star Trek universe. You can construct fleets of your favourite ships, including the likes of the USS Enterprise D. The game features more than 100 characters, including the likes of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Mr. Data, Mr. Worf, and even Dr. Beverly Crusher. If you're ready to join the millions of players already exploring the galaxy, building a fleet, and competing in space battles, then click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to download Star Trek Fleet Command today. New players, make sure to use code WARPSPEED to get a new player content pack for free. It features 10 epic shards of Kirk. All hands, it's Star Trek Fleet Command's 5th year anniversary, but go to Warp Speed fast as ends November 28th, so log in right now. You can take part in giveaways, in-game experiences, and special contests. Perhaps today is a good day to play. Enjoy the video.
Welcome to Trek Central, lords, ladies, and sovereigns. I'm your host, Lieutenant Commander Adam. And before we get started, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. And I just read that entire introduction with my eyes closed. Let's get into it. Engage. The Steamrunner class, a class of Federation starship that was in service within Starfleet by the early 2370s. These ships were usually constructed at Utopia Planitia shipyards and were the symbol of an effort within Starfleet at the time to deal with more threats such as the encroaching Dominion and Borg. The Steamrunner class was an absolute tank of a ship with 18 decks, operating with approximately 200 personnel, with room for up to 50 passengers, and an additional 550 in evacuation conditions apparently, although God knows where they would put them. The catwalk? I don't know. A long-range heavy frigate and a heavy blockade runner will patrol the Federation borders to respond to incursions by any notable threat. The Steamrunner boasted a pair of rapidly reloading torpedo launchers, both connected to a large stock of warheads, able to keep up with a steady barrage against any foe, complemented with Type 10 phaser arrays, which could cover an entire 360-degree firing arc on both the ventral and dorsal sides of the ship. The Steamrunner was a drastic change to Starfleet's design aesthetic, in that it had a larger saucer compared to its engineering section, which housed the navigational deflector, which would later become a similar feature of the increasingly loved California class. And like the not-so-loved Oberth class, they too featured a detached secondary hull. It is unclear, however, whether there is a turbolift access to that section, through a protected shaft in the nacelles, which are layered with ablative armor. They are embedded at the Bussard collectors in large cowlings of the saucer, which gives maximum protection to the forward section, in addition to providing cover for the inset bridge module from multiple angles. At last! A variant of the Steamrunner class was eventually created, dubbed the Saberrunner class as well, which combines Steamrunner aesthetics at Saber class size. I don't know what that accent was, never mind. The Saberrunner class is the only time we've seen the interior of a Steamrunner-esque ship, with its bridge looking conventionally Starfleet, which isn't a surprise. We do know that the ship was still active in 2401, and its computer system would be overhauled, which contained the Fleet Formation Mode system, which, unbeknownst to Starfleet, was actually a trap. It's a trap! Orchestrated by the faction of rogue changelings who had teamed up with the Borg Queen to take over the entire First Fleet of Starfleet. Starfleet was embroiled in numerous battles and conflicts throughout the 2370s, from Borg incursions to the Dominion War, and the Steamrunner class with its tactical focus served it well during this period. It became a common sight in fleet deployments, appearing in numerous engagements, including the Borg at the Battle of Sector 001 in 2373, and in the Dominion War, where several vessels of this class were assigned to Starfleet's Second Fleet, which participated in Operation Return in 2374, the Second Battle of Chintoka, and the Battle of Cardassia in 2375. Quite the hat-trick indeed. A Steamrunner class was also present in 2378 when a Borg sphere appeared from a transwarp aperture, with the sphere containing the long-lost USS Voyager returning from its voyage in the Delta Quadrant. During the Takon resurgence in the year 2380, two Steamrunner classes, the USS Kimball and the USS Lowell, would be present in the battle against the Takon superweapon, the Cartabula. The Saberrunner variant of Steamrunner starships was active during the 2380s, with one such ship, the USS Pissarro, appropriated by Nick Locarno for his Nova Fleet. Nova Fleet was a coalition of starships that had defected from their respective factions to form a single fleet in 2381. These ships were commanded by mutinous lower-deck crews of their own ships. The ship, however, would be destroyed, because of course it would, via the detonation of a microgenesis device on board. The Steamrunner class, however, was still active at the turn of the 25th century, where in 2401, many vessels of this class were present during the attack on Earth during Frontier Day celebrations, where a plan orchestrated by a group of rogue changelings and the Borg Queen, a match made in heaven there, managed to assimilate young Starfleet officers and take control of all the ships in the fleet using the aforementioned Fleet Formation Mode. The Steamrunner class was also present in alternate timelines, such as the Confederation timeline. This timeline existed due to changes in 2024, which led to Earth becoming a fascist government called the Confederation. These vessels were active in 2401 as well, though how different these ships were compared to their prime timeline counterparts is unknown. Like many ships in this alternative timeline, they were named after famous admirals of the Confederation of Earth, with the Steamrunner class being named the CSS Layton, presumably after Admiral Layton, who we only met the prime counterpart of. Behind the scenes, the Steamrunner class was designed by Alex Yeager at ILM. Originally, the class of ship was meant to be called the Streamrunner class, based on a song name by a band called Mortal. Somewhere during the design process, though, the R was lost, and we got the Steamrunner class instead. The ship was also technically a kitbash, as the final design was made up of two other designs made by Alex Yeager. The first design, in his own words, had a secondary hull, but instead of struts to hold the nacelles, they were instead mounted to the saucer section and then cowled over. There was even a third version with 4 nacelles, 2 on the top and 2 more attached to the lower secondary hull. The second design was a bit more automotive in its design shapes. It featured the catamaran nacelles, but instead of being mounted on top of the saucer, they were mounted underneath, and the saucer sort of bent around them. The deflector-dish boom was then mounted more like the boom on the Akira class. The Steamrunner class starship that appeared at the Battle of Sector 001 was named the USS Appalachia. However, this was not meant to be its intended name, according to some scale graphics by John Eves. In typical fashion that I'm sure is meant purely to make me make an arse of myself, the chosen names were supposed to be USS Cavour, USS Hiroshima, and USS Mercury. I'm not even going to bother. The USS Pesaro that appeared in Season 4 of Lower Decks was stated by co-producer Brad Winters to be a Saber Runner class, with a conventional Steamrunner class being much larger. The name of this ship honors the late Fabio Pesaro, and the registry reflects his birthday, May 26, 1970. He had made a number of contributions to the Star Trek universe. He was a prolific Eaglemoss Collections mainstay, for which he had created countless Star Trek CG models and their associated CAD files needed for display model manufacture. Another USS Pesaro would be present in Star Trek Picard Season 3, a Gagarin class, showing that despite the Saber Runner USS Pesaro being destroyed in Lower Decks, both the ship and Pesaro's legacy carry on. This name was suggested by Keen Sin, a freelance graphic artist who provided concept art and renders of starships for promotion of Picard Season 3. But that is the Steamrunner class, and I suppose the Saber Runner as well. Would you be found commanding one of these starships? I would. Or are you perhaps more of a classic Explorer-style starship person? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. But for now, I've been Lieutenant Commander Adam. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.